Pacific Tsunami Warning Center monitors.
My friends, welcome to Crossroads. I don't know how you got here. It may have been with a company or a school or a group of friends. But however you got here, I wanted to thank you for why. Because I think what is driving all of us fundamentally to be here, in part at least, is this: that it's not okay out there in this world of ours. Ours is a beautiful world, a lovely world, with many wonderful things, but it is also a very difficult world. And there are challenges and issues that need changing. And you know, for me, for us in this place, Crossroads, no one planned to start Crossroads. We were like many of you. My family was living in Hong Kong. We were in our free time volunteering, helping people in need. And then one night we received a phone call. A lady called us and she said, "I'm sorry to bother you, but we have just had a flood in China. It was the worst flood in 100 years and 2 million people had lost everything." And she asked my parents, she said, "What can you do to help 2 million people?" Now, I don't know what you would say if you got such a phone call tonight, but truly we did not know what to say. We offered our skills and the lady said to us, "In the past that's been helpful, but at the present what I need is clothing. It's minus 20 degrees. Could you help me please find clothing for 2 million people?" So we, just a family in Hong Kong, went to visit a friend of ours, and as we did, we overheard some women beside us talking. One woman said to the other woman, "Hey, I have many things I'd love to give to poor people, but I don't know any poor people. Do you know any poor people?" And we were listening to these ladies speak, and we said, "Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry to bother you, but we happen to know 2 million people in need. Would you like to give your resources to us?" And so those 19 boxes of clothing came and were sent off. And the woman called us back and she said, "Look, the quality was good, but not the quantity. I need more." And so the second time we went to a school in Hong Kong, they gave us 72 boxes, and then 136, then 248, and then it was like a hole open in the heavens, and resources began to pour in. And the extraordinary thing about Hong Kong is that Hong Kong doesn't have a very big second-hand culture or market. And so suddenly we began to receive extraordinary phone calls. Banks called us and they were throwing away 500 computers that they didn't need. Another bank called and they were getting rid of their furniture, and we asked how many pieces of furniture, and they said, "We have 10 floors of furniture." And then schools gave us all of their educational equipment. Airlines gave us all of their blankets. Shoe companies gave us containers full of shoes. This work began to snowball around us, and so we moved to Hong Kong's old airport. That was our second warehouse. And then to where we are today, an old army base with about 8 acres. It's about 8 soccer fields worth of land, with hundreds of containers of resources that we ship to about 100 countries around the world. But our problem, it was the planet. Because every time that we would send a shipment out, we would get another request or multiple requests. One shipment, 5 requests for more, another shipment, many more, and we ended up with 800 orders from 100 countries. And globally, we had companies calling us saying, "Look, you took resources from Hong Kong, but I have a warehouse full of shoes in Korea, clothing in Malaysia, radio equipment in Thailand. Could you come in the next 36 hours and clear my stock?" And we were looking at all of these needs and looking at all of these resources, and we were thinking, surely this is the age of the internet. You know, there must be an online platform that could connect these two parties together. We looked and we couldn't find it. We went to the UN and we said to the UN, "Why can't we find such a global platform?" And the UN said to us, "Because it doesn't exist." And we were asked then to build it. And so the second piece of our work is online. We help companies globally to match their resources with charities globally that need help. That then went live. But then we moved here to this old army base where we are, and some very precious people in the government and in other places said to us, they said, "We would like tourists to come and visit Crossroads." And we said, "Why?" And they said, "Because Hong Kong is not only about entertainment and finance, but Hong Kong, Yao Sam. Hong Kong's got soul, we care. Because this is Hong Kong's land and Hong Kong's resources, serving Hong Kong and serving the world. We'd like them to come." We thought, fine, they can come. But if tourists come, what do they need? And we spoke to some very informed people, and they said to us, all tourists, the #1 job in Hong Kong is shopping. So you must sell something. Now, we don't sell our stock, but we suddenly realized all around the world, including Hong Kong, people were manufacturing items with insufficient market. Fair trade, it's big in many countries around the world, but it's just birthing in Hong Kong. And so we actually started a fair trade shop and cafe, which remain one of the largest still in Hong Kong. We had our 10th anniversary then, and actually we forgot. But instead of doing a 5-star hotel fundraising gala dinner, we asked this question: how can we use this anniversary to show Hong Kong our heart? To show people why we do what we do? And this really unusual idea came into our mind. We thought, wouldn't it be extraordinary if we could bring CEOs from Hong Kong to Crossroads, and when they come, we'll strip them. We'll take away their watch and their wallet and their cell phone and their laptop, and we'll give them rubbish. And we'll let them build slums. And for 24 hours, we'll let them sleep on the ground and eat with their hands. And so we did. We did this once. We brought these CEOs in, and honestly, I thought they would run away. But they came back and they said to us, they said, please, this was powerful. I've had 3 big moments in my life. The day I got married, the day my first child was born, and this program. Could you run a program like this for my office? I don't have 24 hours, but just 2 or 3 hour programs to help my office feel. And then school principals began to bring teachers, and teachers began to bring students. And then Hong Kong said to us, look, we need more. Poverty is one issue, but what about refugees, HIV, blindness, the environment, natural disasters? These programs exploded. And it was then that the UN called us again. And the UN said to us, look, would you mind? Every year in Switzerland is a very big meeting called the World Economic Forum. Lots of world leaders gather in that place. And there's no way that we can bring all of them to refugee camps, but we could bring the message to them. Could you bring your simulations to Switzerland? And so we did. We built our refugee simulation and our poverty simulation and various programs there in Davos in Switzerland. And for 11 years, we had thousands of these leaders going through, kings and queens and billionaires. But you know, the extraordinary thing that I love, it's not the who, it's not even the scale, it's the what. It's seeing people go through these programs, and life by life, company by company, school by school, watching them take action to see this world change. So what does that look like in a given year? Well, amazingly, we have the privilege of impacting over 600,000 lives, sending almost 100 million Hong Kong dollars worth of aid. About 50% of our resources help people in need in Hong Kong. That's almost 100 NGOs that we would be supplying with the resources they need to serve their clients in need. Perhaps it's an old age home, or it's an orphanage, or it's a drug rehab center, or a shelter for battered women. Whatever it may be, we have the privilege of helping them with their resources that they need to serve. And then on top of that, locally, we have the privilege of serving many, many, many families in the social welfare system. And internationally, we have the privilege of sending 90 shipments to 24 countries around the world. And amazingly, for every dollar of assistance that comes in, we have the ability to be able to send about $9 worth of aid out to those in need. And what does that look like in the fair trade side of our work? Well, across the shop and the cafe, we have the privilege of helping generate income for over 60 producers in 30 countries around the world. In terms of simulations, we have seen over 200,000 people, schools and corporates and others go through these programs, and right now we are developing a brand new strategy to open up this 8.5-acre site, transforming it into a destination of inspiration that will be open to Hong Kong, to families, and to many, many more, in impacting them on behalf of world need and inspiring them to act. But the amazing piece is that the bulk of our work is carried on the shoulders of volunteers. And every year we see over 6,000 community volunteers stand alongside our own team, who for the most part are also full-time volunteers serving this world in need. But do you know what I love? about the story of Crossroads is that it's not about a person. It's not about an amazing couple. It's a story about individuals and people who used their lives, who used their skills, who used their networks and opportunities as they were able, bit by bit, to serve those in need. And my friends, why are you here? Because you're a part of the story too. The world does need to change. And the world does need you. And perhaps it's surplus resources through your company. Perhaps it's programs you can run with your school or even as a family. Whatever it may be, know this, that it's a privilege to be speaking to you. It's a privilege to have you here. And it's a privilege to stand alongside you, serving this precious world in need. This is Crossroads.